Sky Mother coming to lift us up, or is that a sort of a technological, sort of sad parting from the plant tactility?
Well, thanks. That's a good question. And I mean, partly it's just I'm old school. I'm, a senior citizen, and also I have, my attachments and nostalgia to the old ways. But I do find, and I do try everything that's not dangerous at least once to see what I'm talking about. But I do find that pushes it a little bit more toward that other category, drug, and away from plant and live material, plant and mushroom experiences. And this conference is about, I love some drugs like LSD, for instance. So I don't want to say that isn't valid, but it does take the living plant and our connection to it and stretch it out over to where it's an extraction through a device where we never have to see the plant. It doesn't smell the same. I've said before, I love smoke. There are indigenous traditions of reading the smoke that you exhale, because the smoke has information in it. Actually reading the smoke as it flows from you and the forms that it takes, or reading it as it comes off of a pipe, or as we do off of incense sometimes. You can get stoned and watch incense. That's really fun. But I think if we want to remember that we are nature, and that a lot of what we're talking about here is nature, then to have a nature experience where you're smoking actual plant material that you touch and smell, or you even see growing, or you know somebody who's growing it, and then you go into nature and you walk in nature, you sit in the garden or in the park in town. I mean, that's a body of experience that all goes together, that is achievable, even if you like your vaporizer in your meeting hall, So I would just suggest that you try that too when you can. Thank you.
Last question. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I'm curious if you can speak to the ways that cannabis might embody some qualities of the trickster. I've heard that said about cannabis, and I've perhaps had some experiences I'm mulling over as you're talking, and I wonder if you can speak to that quality of the plant medicine.
Thank you. Yes, as the trickster, it's true that as I said before, it's humans, I think, that are so tricky. But if we're not seeking balance, and Sandor, the speaker earlier, said, healing is balance, and that's what we all need and what we're all going for. And I agree and have said the same thing. And if you're seeking balance as part of your daily practice, and if you're seeking it, your practice of life, and then if you're seeking it as part of your relationship with cannabis, then you know how much is too much and how much is just right, or when it's time to stand back for a few days or a few months or a few years even, and you know that it's a relationship like we have with each other. And so you know that means you don't want to see even people you really care about. You don't want to see them all the time, right? You like the ebb and flow of your relationship. It's more spacious. It allows more awareness to happen in it. And if we're not seeking balance and we go into a relationship with cannabis or any other powerful entity like that, then we're in danger of just getting lost in it. We don't apply the light of our own self-reflection to it. This is about self-reflection. I mean, part of the spiritual relationship is self-awareness, right? And so if you have a practice where you quietly on your own have just a little and meditate with that, and then after you've understood or seen a few things, then have just a little bit more, meditate on that, maybe only do that once in a while, then you're probably much more likely, at least, to be in balance with it. It's so hard. I know we've all known, really gone potheads who are troubled. We're all troubled by it, or they're troubled, and their relationships suffer because all their human relationships become, secondary or tertiary to their habits, and it's not a well. They're not self-aware. They're suffering. They're suffering. So I don't know that I would say cannabis itself is tricky. I just think it's really tricky to remember to approach it consciously. And I am also, just want to be clear for the record, I'm not saying don't have a good time with it. I mean, I too will smoke with friends or go to a concert or laugh and with others and love that. It's not just that it should always be prayerful, but I feel like if somebody's got a real problem with their cannabis habit, then they need help of different sorts, and they may not know to ask for that. It has to do with grounding and clearing and cleansing and all of these traditional techniques that Indigenous healers would use on someone who they saw was in a cloud, was in a fog.
Just would like to remind everybody that Kat wrote an article for a book called Cannabis and Spirituality. This book is being launched in the marketplace in symposia stage. I invite you to visit the marketplace as well. And I thank Kat and those that you thank cannabis, and we thank you that open paths for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Stephen Gray, the editor of Cannabis and Spirituality, is starting his talk right now on the symposia stage if you want to go catch him talking about this. Thank you very much.